Hello everyone, and welcome to our Wisdom Wednesday for this week. So remember, with our Wisdom Wednesday, this is just a generalized spiritual discussion. And this is just based on the energies that we are currently working with for this week. And for this week, we're going to be talking a lot about surrender and not being the doer, which we have a big tendency to identify ourselves with. But before we get into any of that, we have to, for this week, like I said, we're doing the I am not the doer. And if you are interested in learning more about me or my services, or you're interested in more free content like this, you can, of course, always go see the archived information, as well as you can view that on my YouTube channel. And both my website and YouTube are in the description of the video if you are interested in those. And so for today, I want to start off our live with that reminder that this is a discussion, and if you do have a question, comment, or concern based on the topic that we are talking about, then feel free to put that into the comments, and I will do my very best to answer it either here live, or if you're catching the replay, I will do my best to get back to you and respond. So as we are starting for today, what I want to start off with is a question. Okay? And the question I want to start with for today is, and before I even say the question, I want to preface it with this. Okay? So before I even ask the question, I want you to go ahead and I want you to answer this question instinctively, intuitively. So as soon as the last syllable kind of leaves my lips, I want you to just say the first answer that comes into your mind. That's how we start answering things, intuitively and instinctually. And that's what this is all about first. So the question that I want to ask you, and remember, the first thing that comes to your mind instinctively, that's what we're answering, is, are you in there? That's it. Are you in there? And this question really helped to shift a lot of things for me. And the reason that it helped shift so many different things for me was because this question really gets to the core. Are you in there? And I'll say a good majority of you watching most likely said, yes, I'm here. I'm in here. But who is that I that's in there? Who is the I that's in there right now who just answered that question and said, yes, I'm in here? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Who is that I that's in there that just answered that question? But before we get into that, hello, thanks for joining, thanks for being here. So before we get into that, first, what we need to talk about is what we are not. So before we talk about what we are, we need to talk about what we are not. So we have to ask ourselves some more questions. And the other question we have to ask ourselves, once again, answering this instinctually and intuitively. And it's not really about a right answer or a wrong answer. It's just about bringing awareness. So the questions that we have to ask ourselves now are, am I my thoughts? So just that first instinctual answer. It's either yes or a no. So am I my thoughts? Just a yes or a no. Then am I my emotions? Yes or a no. Now that one can be a little tricky sometimes, but once again, just that yes or that no answer. Am I my emotions? That first answer, and that's why you keep hearing me snap, because I'm trying to get you, don't think about it, just go right to it. Then, am I my beliefs? Once again, first instinctual answer. Am I my beliefs? Is that who I am? Is that the I that answered, yes, I'm in here? And then, am I my persona, or am I my personality? Once again, first thing comes to your mind. That's all we're doing. Just, am I my personality? Or am I my persona? First thing that comes to your mind. And what we have to realize with all of these is we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. We are not our beliefs. And we are not our persona. what we are doing, or what is happening, I'm not even going to say what we're doing, but what is happening is we are the witness to our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, and even our persona. We are merely the witness to them. That's what we are. That's what answered that question. Said, are you in there? Yes, I'm in here. That's the witness. That's consciousness. That's the awareness that you are that answered. Is like, yeah, I'm in here. Totally. I'm here. But see, what we have done is we have constructed this persona, this ego, as based on experiences, based on life, based on a whole bunch of different things. We have constructed this ego, this persona, this personality self. And this personality self likes to think that it is the doer, that it does things. Okay? And we can even go one step further, but this might be a little too far. Are you your body? That first answer. Are you your body? In truth, no, you're not your body. Your body isn't who you are. It's not part of that awareness. You may be aware of the body. You can watch the body, but you are not the body. And see, this is where the ego is like, well, yes, I am. I am the body. I am the doer. I'm the one that's breathing. I'm the one that's speaking. I'm the one that's doing this. It always wants to be that doer. And I don't know if any of you, it's kind of just popping into my head right now, have seen the Saturday Night Live skit with Stuart. And basically, Stuart is just, it's a guy, and he's just dressed like a little child. And, he'll go over to the person who plays his mom and be like, look what I can do. And he just literally just like flings his arms in the air, or just like sits down, or just something outrageous. And that's really what the ego is. The ego just is thinking it's doing all of these things. See, look what I can do. But it just wants you to look over there. It wants you to pay attention to it, because the ego is the idea of separation, and the ego is the identity that you have kind of built. And since it is something that you've built, you do love it in a way, even though that idea in and of itself wants nothing more than your destruction. It still says, yeah, you still love me in some way, shape, or form, in some weird, thing. You identify yourself as the ego. And a lot of us do. And that's not good. It's not bad. It's just simply, once again, a fact. Something that we've all done. Another way of looking at this is, consider that you have 5 dominoes, okay? And we're going to say the 4th domino represents the ego, okay? And so we'll say spirit just starts knocking down those dominoes, because life is constantly unfolding. And so that's just an unfolding action. Something hits the domino, whatever it may be. And so, the first one knocks into the second one one knocks into the third one, then the third one knocks into the fourth one, and then the fourth one knocks into the fifth one. But because the ego is like, I'm the doer, it's like, oh, did you see what I just did there? Did you see what I just did? I did that. This whole thing about 5 dominoes falling wouldn't have happened without me, the 4th domino. It just wouldn't have happened, because look at me. I'm autonomous. I did all of this. That's the ego. That's what it does. It wants you to take ownership of what you do. It says what you do and who you are intricately connected, which isn't true. What you do and who you are 2 very separate things, because the ego is all about that doership. I am the one doing this. I am autonomous. I get to make the choices here. And what we have to remember is life is constantly unfolding. Okay? It's constantly in that progression of unfoldment or movement or change, however you want to look at that. So it's always there. And you are the witness to that unfoldment. You are not the cause of that unfoldment. You are the witness to that unfoldment. You are watching it. You're watching life unfold before you. It's all that's happening. Life is unfolding. Now, as life is unfolding in front of you, what you may see, once again, is what you believe up here. So your thoughts and your beliefs, even some of your emotions, are going to be projected out onto the screen. And the ego says, well, I need to do something about this. That's what it says. I need to do something about this. And so it tries to fix things out here, thinking that if it fixes things out here, that the things in here will be fixed. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. The outside world is merely reflecting the inside world. Our own thoughts and beliefs. It's just reflecting it back to us. And so that's why life is just constantly unfolding. Life is not good. Life is not bad in a moral sense, because life is simply happening. So you can also consider that, when two, I think it's, what is it? Not scorpions, but praying mantises. When a praying mantis mates, the female chops off the head of the male. It's not that the female is bad. It's not that the female is wrong. It's just that natural unfoldment of what is occurring. That's just what we're seeing. We put the moral on it. We say, well, that's morally wrong or that's morally right. It's really just unfolding. Now, this is not about, what's right and what's wrong and judgment and so forth and so on. This is all just to illustrate to you that the ego is so insidious that it comes up and it says, you're the doer. You are the doer. You got to do all this stuff. And think about that heavy burden that it puts on you. You have to figure everything out. You have to come up with the inspiration. You have to come up with the ideas. You have to do this. You have to do that. That's a lot of burden you're putting on yourself. And that's psychological, physical, emotional, mental. You're putting so much on you that you weren't meant to have, that you weren't meant to be, because you're so busy trying to do it all. We have to allow ourselves to be the instrument for the divine to flow through. That does not mean that you will not be guided into an action. It doesn't mean you sit in a cave all day, or you sit in your room all day, or you sit in a closet all day and just be like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and, look at life through my closet. And that's it. That's not what this means. To not be the doer doesn't mean that action will not be required of you. It just means that you are not the one in charge of saying, this is the action that I need to do, or this is the action that I am doing. We can notice that when we get into that flow, when we allow ourselves to be the instrument for which the divine wants us to be in whatever way, shape, or form, and we can know that by what we are passionate about, what brings us that sense of joy and happiness, what accentuates that, and what activities that help us to slip in to that state of flow, where we are no longer separate from the activity, we are the activity. And the way that I like to kind of put that into other terms is, consider Michelangelo, the great artist. And, he would go to the marble quarry and he would be like, no, I'm seeing the sculpture. I see the marble, but I'm seeing the sculpture inside the marble, right? He was seeing that divine blueprint. And so instead of him going up there and being like, okay, I am the one chiseling this, thing out, he was allowing the quote unquote marble to tell him, if you will, where to chisel, how to chisel, what to chisel. And so that's where that concept can come in. You can also take Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would be like, oh, I'm just basketball. Like when he would play basketball, he'd enter into that flow state and just be like, I am basketball. It wasn't, I am Michael Jordan playing basketball, or I am Michelangelo sculpting. I am. I am that activity. That's all that I am. And that practice that we have to get into is realizing that we are not the doer of the activity. The activity, whatever it may be, is being done through us. And we can even take this for example. What I am doing right here, right now, I am not doing anything. I am moving the way that I am guided to. I am allowing the divine to come in. I am allowing the divine to use me and to speak through me to the best of my ability. Are there still some filters there through which it is coming? Yes, there are. I'm not going to say it's a total, complete, clear, channel. Of course not. I'm not there yet. But I am allowing myself to just be used. Just like when my book randomly came into my mind, The Practical Mystic. I wasn't thinking about, what book should I write? It was just this idea. And then I just started to write. It was just these inspired ideas that I started to put down onto paper, or actually just started to type out. That was it. It had nothing to do with Ron Schaefer, the ego. Ron Schaefer, the personality. It had nothing to do with that, because that in and of itself is nothing. It is a mask. It is a persona. It is an idea and nothing more. And I realize that, some of the stuff that I am saying probably sounds like super woo-woo, super out there. However, if we really just kind of come back and think about it, you are able to see the best of yourself when you are not trying. Consider, a child who goes bowling for the first time and they almost get like a perfect 300. Why do they get that? Is it beginner's luck? No, because they're just there. They're not trying to win the game. They're not trying to do it. They are just there in the activity. They are allowing themselves to be used in that activity because they don't know what to do. And we're so busy saying, I know what to do. I know how to do this. I know what's going to fix this. I know. Well, if you know, then where is there room for miracles? Where is there room for blessings? Where is there room for spontaneity? Where is there room for the divine to guide you and use you? There is none. Because you're so busy with the I know, and this is what I should do, and this is how I should do it. But if we just allow ourselves to become the instruments, and this is exactly what I put for the blessings post yesterday. Allow yourself to be an instrument for the divine instead of saying, I am the doer of this. I am the blesser. You're not the blesser. You're not the miracle worker. You're not the healer. You are the instrument that the divine uses in order to express its divinity. It expresses it through this physical vessel. That's all that it does. It just expresses it. But see, we like to take ownership and be like, I am this or I am that. Well, really, all that you are simply the witness. That's what you are. You are the witness. You are not what you do. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your beliefs. You are not your body. You are none of those things. What you are, in essence, is the witness to everything that is unfolding in front of you. And like I said, I know this sounds like a very meta, like, whoa, this is a lot. However, a way that we can begin to practice this is by, instead of, here's my water. So instead of being like, I am picking up the water, I am now taking a drink, it's more like, I am noticing that the body is picking up this water. I am noticing that the body is drinking. I'm noticing. It's not I am doing. It's just I'm noticing. Or even with a thought, even with an emotion. We identify ourselves so much with our emotions. I am sad. I am angry. I am this. I am that. And what we have to remember is I am none of those things. I am witnessing that vibration within me. That vibration was activated within me by what I'm seeing out here, because what I'm seeing out here is activating a thought within me, and that thought is activating an emotion. That emotion is now activated within my body, and that's it. Like I can notice that, and you're still feeling it. You're not denying the feeling. You're just noticing the feeling instead of identifying yourself with the feeling, or identifying yourself with the thought, identifying yourself with the sensation. I am noticing. So that's one way that you can begin to practice this way of thinking. Because it's just a very different way of thinking. We're just really used to identifying ourselves with the ego, with the body, and being like, yeah, I am doing this. I am doing that. I'm not doing anything. I am simply being used. I am noticing that my body is moving. I'm noticing that my body is doing this. I'm noticing that my thoughts are going here. I notice that my thoughts are going there. I'm noticing it. That's it. You're just noticing. And like I said, it doesn't mean that you don't feel. And then people are like, well, then what's my purpose in life? Well, the Course in Miracles tells us that really our only purpose is forgiveness. But some people just don't like that, and that seems like a little much for them. So something else that we can say that our purpose is to be used. You go with what inspires you. Okay, so this, right now, this is inspiring me, whatever this is. So whatever activity. So maybe it's art, maybe it's music, maybe it's basketball, maybe it's soccer. Maybe you'll become super famous. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just fade into obscurity. Maybe you'll reach a super high and then not want to do it anymore. But you're noticing it. You're noticing, wow, this brings me a lot of joy. You know what? I'm going to allow the divine to express its joy through me, through this activity. This is why I think about people like Mozart. And you just love their music because it's just like you can feel that sense of happiness and joy, or whatever the case may be. You can just feel that extension of the divine, that it is expressing itself through the medium of music or through the medium of art, Monet. I remember there was a Doctor Who episode. I love Doctor Who, by the way. But there was a Doctor Who episode, and basically, like, they went back and, they found him, did some sort of crazy adventure, but then they came back, and I will never forget when, he kind of looked around the gallery, and of course, the person was just kind of like, oh, wow, the curator of that particular part was like, oh, wow, I just love Monet. I think he's so great, saying it to Monet, the artist himself. And it was like, he just expressed himself onto the thing. And once again, he didn't express himself. What he expressed was the divinity. Divinity expressed itself through him. Now, yes, were there filters? Probably. We all have some filters, but that's how the divine is. The divine will always experience itself through us and through those filters for right now, until we just start to get so clear that it's just divinity constantly expressing itself through us. But again, it's not about you being the doer. It's not about you doing it. It's about you allowing yourself to be moved through it. And if there comes a time that it no longer brings you joy, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It doesn't mean anything's bad. It just means the divine has chosen that it would like to express through you in another way. Great. But see, we don't see it as great. I have identified ourselves so much with the whatever it is, be it painting or drawing or soccer or Instagram or whatever it is. And we've identified ourselves so much with it that we now say, that is who I am. That is what I do. I can be nothing else. You have just put consciousness, the divinity that you are, the infinite, into a teeny tiny little box. And then you're like, well, why am I unhappy? Well, you're unhappy because you put infinity, or you are attempting to put infinity into a teeny tiny little box, which is not where it's meant to be. It's meant to unfold. It's meant to express, and it will constantly do so. So again, we are not the doers. We are the witness to that which is being done through us. That is all that we are. We are the witness to our emotions. We are the witness to our thoughts. We are the witness to our bodies. We are the witness to everything to our thoughts made manifest in the world. That's it. And if you choose, you can of course choose to offer yourself that forgiveness. And then once again, you're not doing anything. You are simply offering yourself the correction. That's all you're doing. Because you're not the healer. That's another big one. And I know that was one I had to really acknowledge. I am not the healer. I am not even the one doing the reading. That was another big one. For those of you that have watched me for any extent of time, you know that the Palladians have come through, and other collectives have, come through different streams, and I've done toning, so forth and so on. And there was a time where I was like, no, I don't want this, because I was so in that concept of like, I'm the doer. I have to do this. And if I'm not doing it, then, what am I? And I had to forgive myself, and I had to offer that to myself, and I had to step back and just allow, surrender, surrender, surrender as much as you can. And it's not always the easiest thing to do, because like I said, we identify ourselves so much with what we do. And so this broadcast was only to bring that to light. It was only to show us where we are so heavily identified and what we can begin to do, or what we can begin to practice, not do, but practice mentally, consciously, is that stepping back. I am noticing the body. Or you can also ask yourself, who is the I? Who is the I that is thinking this? Who is the I that is feeling this? And just getting really aware of that, and getting aware of your ego and where it's trying to be like, well, excuse me, I don't like this. Well, who is the I that doesn't like this? Because spirit is accepting and loving of all things, for it knows all things to be perfect. It's only the ego mind that comes up and says, I don't like this, personal preference. And that's something that the Course in Miracles talks about as well, is no private thoughts and no people pleasing, no personal preferences, the 3 Ps. And that can be very insightful, because the ego comes up and is like, oh, whoa. This is what I like. This is what I want. And you can also consider that, the authority problem. We all have an authority problem. We want to be the authors of our own reality. We want to say, well, I want reality to look like this. And if it doesn't look like this, then it must mean, the divine doesn't love me. It must mean that I'm not doing something right. How many times have you thought that? I know for me, when I started this journey, I was trying to make reality what I wanted it to be. I was trying to make reality be like, I want it to look like this, and I want it to be like this. Well, reality is only going to show you what you believe. That's what the world is there for, to show you the rocks that you are still carrying around. Now, you can see beauty, don't get me wrong. You can see beauty, you can see, miraculous blessings and beautifulness, but that first, we have to accept the healing of our minds, not through the doership of, I have to fix this so it looks this way, or I have to fix this person in order for them to act this way. It is, I am willing to forgive myself for believing this, and I am asking that it be taken from me and healed for me. For I am not the healer. I am not the doer of the healing. I am merely the vessel through which the healing is accomplished. And it is not just accomplished for me. It is accomplished for all of humanity, all of the universe. And all I have, all that is asked of me, is to simply be that open and allowing vessel, to be the witness. And there's another beautiful line, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's from A Course in Miracles. But basically it says, you could be carried down a stream, or your life could be like you were carried down a soft stream in summer. So just think about that. Think about that for a moment, like just floating through life. Not floating with, in the way of completely out of control. It's a guided little stream. It's just like floating in a lazy river. For anyone who's ever been to a water park, you're in the lazy river. There's nothing that you have to do. You're totally pulled along the way. You're just showing up. That's all you're doing. That's all any of us really have to do, is show up and allow ourselves to be used. Another way that you can begin to practice that is with the healer's prayer. And that's something that I use even before I come live. I am only here to be truly helpful. I don't have to know what to do or what to say, because he who sent me will direct me. I will heal as he teaches me how to heal. Done. That's it. And then that opens you up to be that open form of communication. So that is our live for today. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here, and I look forward to next Wednesday.